Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Tittle Tattle Tarot. It's Georgie. And on this day in history, the 1st of May, on the 1st of May 1931, the Empire State Building opened in New York. And I thought for such an iconic building, it would be lovely to do just a straightforward Celtic cross, purely dedicated to the Empire State on that day in history, and just see what it throws up. I believe that President Hoover, he opened it. He wasn't in New York, but I think that he flicked some kind of switch and this magnificent Art Deco building just lit up. It must have been such a sight, especially, at the start of the Depression. People were on their knees, weren't they? And I think that to see this wonderful achievement, I couldn't believe how quickly this building had been put up. I thought, it had taken years and years and years, but, it was put up so quickly. And what an achievement it was. And I just want to get the energy around the Empire State Building on that opening day. What did people feel like? What was the energy around the Empire State Building? So I'm just going to throw a straightforward Celtic cross, and then we'll just go through all of the positions. Okay, so I've got some nice cards here. So we're starting off the central position, the central energy of this. You've got the Eight of Wands. I think that there was probably a lot of opposition. I don't know. This is just the feeling that I get. When this was being built, it was probably hugely disruptive. I think that the site of the Empire State Building, was that like the old Waldorf Hotel? And I think in the 20s, mid-20s, it was really dilapidated. So they pulled down the hotel and they sold this land. And this is where the Empire State Building, was then erected. And I think New York was called the Empire State. So, so this building was called after New York, basically. But I think looking at this, there was a lot of... there was a lot of defensiveness about this building. I don't know whether it was a financial thing, couldn't get the money together, got the money together. And then probably because of the timing of this, there would have been a lot of people saying, oh, this money could have been spent better. This is a very defensive position. So this whole building was built very much with having to defend it the whole time, having to defend the action of building this. That's the impression I'm getting. I don't know that, but I'm just getting that energy of protecting this building and protecting, the fact that this was going to get built, and there were sort of slings and arrows coming at them, at the developers. And probably a lot of people unhappy about the amount of money that was being spent on this. So it's a very defensive situation, but we've got the work card crossing it. They worked and worked, and as I said to you, I couldn't believe how quickly this building, how quickly it was completed. Astronomical speed. And they worked. I mean, the number of people that died falling from this building, look at this creature here tapping away. It's almost like the scaffolding, isn't it? And hitting in nails and welding. The heat of it, the work, not just sort of the guys that were constructing it, but all the financial work that went into it. Massive achievement, massive work went into it. And at the top, well, you have that working together card, that very much, people pulling together to make this work. And it was a union of people that got this together. And, that sort of combined effort that made this come together so quickly. If people had been diversive and it had been very unhappy energy, I don't think this building could have been built so quickly. The fact that everybody was on the same page with this and very driven to work hard, that's how they managed to achieve it. I'm going with the flow here. I don't know. This is just the feeling that I'm getting from these cards. And the bottom of it, the emotion that went into this. I mean, people lost their lives over it, money went into it. It was people's the people that were involved with it, whether they were being employed to build it, or the financiers or whatever. It was their family. It was everything to them. And if you can think, I mean, in the 1930s, this would have been a terrible, terrible time, people losing their jobs. The construction workers that were working on that, I should imagine, although it was very dangerous work, what a good thing for them to have, even though it was dangerous work, to have that work, and it fed their families, and kept their families together. So this is very much a cohesive thing of providing work, and that was the bottom line of it. It secured families. In the past, again, I see this kind of this card, this Ten of Swords, in the past. I think this has something to do with the land before it was actually starting to be built on, the Waldorf Hotel. I think people were very upset, some people, that the old Waldorf Hotel was going. I don't know that. This is just the feeling that I'm getting, especially with this at the center here, this defensiveness. It was probably this old hotel, probably had an awful lot of history around it, an awful lot of emotion around it. And I think there were a lot of people that were deeply, deeply wounded at the fact that the old Waldorf Hotel was being ripped down to make way for, some people would have seen this as a monstrosity, this massive, great building. So that was in the past. That was sort of leading up to the building being built. Very unhappy people, not all of them, but a big group of people that were deeply unhappy about losing the Waldorf Hotel. But the future, well, how can you not be impressed when this wonderful building is erected so quickly? And the sun, I mean, the sun is all about growth. And my God, this thing grew like topsy, got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, it's the tallest building in the world. And what an accomplishment. The sun, is such an achievement. It's shining a light. And when Hoover, when he turned on the lights, it shone a light on this magnificent achievements and this beautiful Art Deco building. So, out of all of this, that's the future. That's what happened. This magnificent building. So that's the central energy. Some sort of very much disagreement at the beginning. Some people not happy at all, but it provided so much work for people. And they got on with it. They worked really hard, got it all together. And yes, what an achievement. So now we come to the outside. Queen of Cups, that's a very emotional card. So I'm going to take the Queen of Cups, although that's a feminine card. It doesn't have to be female energy. This is an emotional card. I think on the 1st of May, when this opened, families were going there. And I'm going to take this Queen of Cups to represent, the family. Everybody getting dressed up in their finest clothes, the mother, the father, the children, all getting dressed up, wearing their hearts on their sleeves. It was such an emotional thing in this very grim time in the 30s when, people were struggling to feed themselves, to have this amazing building. So I think it was a very emotional opening for families, and it brought out everybody's emotions on that 1st of May 1931. And what did people see? They actually saw it was fairly even give and take. I know the building had cost a fortune, and it was probably money that could have been spent elsewhere, but on the whole, they felt that it had been value for money, because this put New York on a whole different level. They now have the tallest building in the world. And you have these figures looking down on this one with the elevated height, and then you've got this big pillar behind. Yeah, I kind of see this as, well, it cost a fortune, but look, we've got the tallest building in the world. And these people that queued up to see the opening, they would have gone up into this magnificent building, and they would have, stood there basically at the top of the world. And I think that they would have thought that that was good reciprocity, that it was money well spent. on the whole, although you would still have these people who were, well, you know, why on earth did they pull down the old Waldorf Hotel? There's nothing wrong with that. Should have left it. You know, you're always going to get that sort of contingency. But on the whole, they thought that it was money well spent. And the King of Wands, this is like your passion. This is the hopes of it all. Yeah, the King of Wands. The Wands is just like just the passion that you have for the building. They wanted this to be the highest in the world, and it was kind of competing with the Chrysler building. You know, could they make it higher than the Chrysler, and you know, this, that, and the other. And of course they did. And you know, wands, that's quite interesting, because wands, it's like a sort of phallic symbol in a way. And these two great big phallic buildings, you know, it was a bit like yeah, it was a bit like wars of the genitals in a way, you know, who's got the biggest. And in the end, it was the Empire State by far. And yeah, so there was a lot of ego going on here, and a lot of passion, you know, our building's bigger than your building, sort of thing. And fantastic, absolutely wonderful or energy of competition. And I think the world in the 1930s, certainly New York, America in the 1930s, needed that fire, needed that focus, and certainly got it with the Empire State. And then the top card, well, there you are. You have the home card, the four walls. Certainly are the four walls of this wonderful building, the security of it. I mean, it took a while for it to make any money. You know, we haven't really got any pentacles here. We've got this pentacle here, you know, the sort of even give and take, and we've got a working pentacle here. But it took a long time for the Empire State Building to make any money. It wasn't really financially viable until the 1950s. So, you know, it went for a long time with being half empty, you know, only a small amount of it being used. But by the time, you know, got into the 50s, then it started making money. And what a wonderful building. But overall, the overall energy of this is in a time where there wasn't much money and people were literally living hand to mouth. It was a dreadful, dreadful time at the start of the 30s. On the whole, people embraced this. And I think they saw this as better times were coming with the sun, you know, better times were coming, and it provided work for the laborers. And wow, didn't that go up quickly? And I think on the whole, it was beautifully received, and people were very proud of it. Of course they were. But this one here makes me laugh. This King of Wands, them sort of everyone competing to try and have the biggest phallic building in New York, in the world, you know. And that sort of energy is very male and very, very funny, trying to make this building as big as possible. And yes, they did it. And well, there you are. So 1st of May today. Happy birthday, Empire State Building. I've been there, and I loved it. And I remember being in New York and just having neck ache. Just from all the looking up, sort of living out here in the middle of nowhere. We haven't got anything bigger than a 2-story house, you know, cottage. My ceilings are like 5'6", so I'm not used to looking up. And I came away from New York. I had such a neck ache from looking up. What a magnificent place it is. So yes, happy birthday, Empire State Building. If you know any facts about the Empire State, then please let me know. And yeah, I'll be back again with another On This Day in History very soon. You take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.